right now on 5 on your side at 10.
High heat and humidity means Tuesday is a weather impact alert day. Why this bout of heat won't be hanging around for long.
We're just hours away from primary day in Missouri, the candidate's last push for votes. First, she's in a fight to keep her seat in the U.S. House. Tonight, new audio reveals Congresswoman Cori Bush's plea to her staff to stick by her side.
If I stop, then they win. If I stop, St. Louis don't get what they need.
It is leaked audio you will only hear on 5 on your side. Good evening, everyone. I'm Kelly Jackson.
And I'm Mike Bush. The recording from January is from inside Congresswoman Cori Bush's office. The release comes just one day before voters in Missouri's 1st congressional district head to the polls to decide between the two-term incumbent or her challenger, Wesley Bell, in the Democratic primary. Our political editor, Mark Maxwell, obtained that audio, and he joins us now with what's on that call. Mark?
What you're about to hear is Congresswoman Cori Bush confessing to her inner circle. People might think it's a little messed up, in her words, that she paid her husband with campaign funds. And you'll hear her pleading with them to stick by her side as the Department of Justice opens a criminal investigation into those payments.
The history-making moment that we are in the middle of, do we run from it because it's tough, because they're throwing all of this stuff at us? Or do we push through and walk through it and come out on the other side victorious for the people who need us the most?
Congresswoman Cori Bush insisted to her staff her campaign's payments to her husband were not illegal after the Office of Congressional Ethics dismissed one complaint.
But that did not stop the DOJ from picking it up, too, because they had already received back in August or July, whenever that article came out, that person not only reached out to the House, they also reached out to the DOJ and all of these other groups. And so that's where the DOJ one comes from.
She acknowledged the Justice Department complaint came in the summer of 2023, but suggested she was under fire for comments she wouldn't make for another 2 months in October.
There are people who are very, very angry with us. Powerful people who are angry with us because we said ceasefire.
Then she floated another theory contradicting that one. Maybe the whole investigation was just propped up to insulate President Biden from Republican critics.
This person who is a right-wing Trumper type deal, if this person asked the DOJ to open this investigation, and if the DOJ would have said no, then this person could have come back and said the DOJ didn't do this because she's a Democrat and the president is a Democrat, and it's just to cover for Democrats.
Then she compared the government's investigation into her campaign spending to J. Edgar Hoover and the FBI's covert operations to spy on communists and discredit Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.
Just remember, think about how many folks was actually with Dr. King when Dr. King was doing all the things that he was doing. How many folks turned away from him when the FBI came at him? It's the same type of tactics. If we can throw mud on your name, if we can get you caught up in spending money, if we can get you in a place to where you tired and people don't trust you no more, and all of this, if I can ruin your credibility, then we can ruin you. And then you no longer will be in that seat, and we can put who we want there.
Those efforts to keep staff on board were ultimately unsuccessful. 3 more staffers left Bush's office in the last 6 weeks alone. She's now down to just 1 staffer on her legislative team, and her office is not actively hiring any replacements. Also, a quick note on the timing of this report. So close to the election tomorrow, the Washington Post was first to report on the existence of this audio this morning. We obtained a copy just today and ultimately made the decision that it was in the public interest and that holding on to it until after the election would only be a disservice to voters.
The Republicans running for governor crisscrossed Missouri today in a final push to get out the vote. Lieutenant Governor Mike Keogh rallied police and firefighters with his closing arguments in St. Peter's tonight. Our cameras caught up with State Senator Bill Eigel in between stops at an airport.
Well, I'm the anti-establishment candidate. I'm the one with a vision of a stronger Missouri, and I've got the backbone and the conservative track record to actually implement this down in Jefferson City.
We definitely know how to govern. 35 years in small business, created hundreds of jobs in my small business career. Neither one of those 2 guys have ever done that or anything like that. They don't know what it's like to solve problems and move Missouri forward. I do, and I'm ready to go.
Secretary of State Jay Ashcroft rallied his supporters with former Arkansas Governor Mike Huckabee in southwest Missouri. The polls open tomorrow at 6 a.m. They close at 7 p.m. We put together a complete voter guide on KSDK.com. You can also text the word guide to 314-425-5355, and we'll send you a link.
A hot and humid night in St. Louis. A heat advisory tomorrow has us in a weather impact alert tonight. Let's get straight over to Chief Meteorologist Scott Connell.
And unlike many times when we see the heat break, this go round, we're not expecting big thunderstorms to come along with it later tomorrow. It is still a very warm night across the bi-state area, despite mainly clear skies, still 87 degrees now. Today, our heat index values were around 101, 105. Tomorrow, between noon and 6, they're climbing into that 103 to 108 degree range, which impacts anybody without effective cooling. So try to spend some time in the air conditioning. Make sure you're drinking lots of water tomorrow, and definitely stay hydrated throughout the day. And, try to stay out of the sun too. These are your forecast heat index values tomorrow afternoon. Above 100, and in the metro area along that front as it approaches up to 108 degrees. Doesn't last for long. More on that in a few minutes, Mike.
Tonight, the mayor and other city leaders are responding after about 40 inmates escaped their cells at the St. Louis City Justice Center.
It happened yesterday, just 3 days after a major state audit was released detailing problems inside the jail. 5 on your side, Laura Barcheski is live with the latest on this.
Mike and Kelly, everyone from former sheriff's deputies to the mayor's office themselves say things have to change with inside the City Justice Center, and there's a lot more work that needs to be done, and none of these feelings are really new. The St. Louis Department of Public Safety says around 7 a.m. Sunday, dozens of detainees were out of their cells, sitting at tables and even on the floor. City Justice Center staff had to use pepper spray and other undisclosed tactics to get them back in their cells, which took about 2.5 hours.
My first response is trying to make sure that their health and safety and well-being was taken care of. And as I am aware, we were able to resolve the issue and there were no severe injuries.
Just 3 days before the incident, former Sheriff's Deputy Alfred Montgomery raised concerns over what he called excessive use of pepper spray when it's not necessary.
We've seen a lot of that going on, and it actually affected the employees there at the jail as well, and also some of the sheriffs, because it's constantly mace being sprayed on those detainees when they're not following direction instead of just not being combative.
The incident stopped prisoner processing for hours. This all happened 3 years after the city spent $1.5 million to fix the jail's locking system. Alderman Rasheen Aldridge is not surprised.
It's unprecedented what's happening over and over and over what we see. I think I've called for it and other members have called for new leadership at the jail and just a complete deep dive of what the problems are and how do we all work together to fix them.
He hopes 2 companion bills signed by the mayor last week will fix jail access problems for the oversight board, elected officials, and even attorneys trying to get to their clients.
I mean, it's beyond problematic at that point when you're not allowing somebody due process.
Any jail employee who denies attorneys access could face a fine of up to $500. Aldridge says consulting other counties could be part of the solution.
They also had situations at St. Louis County Jail once upon a time, and they've seen to figure out what the problem was.
The Detention Facilities Oversight Board Chair, Reverend Darrell Gray, says they plan to request the full internal incident report so they can continue their investigation. Reporting live downtown, Laura Barcheski, 5 on your side.
With just 2 weeks until school starts, local leaders are calling for an in-depth look into St. Louis public schools. Mayor Tashara Jones and State Representative Rachel Prouty are asking for a state audit. Now the state auditor is coming to St. Louis Thursday to discuss the requests. Mayor Jones says the district began last year with a surplus budget of $17 million, and now it has a projected deficit of $35 million.
Let no one talk you out of the processes and procedures for accountability, because at the end of the day, it is your money, it is your children.
The district also faces transportation issues due to a bus driver shortage. A meeting on their transportation plan is scheduled for tomorrow.
Tonight, St. Louis police are looking for a pair of armed robbers who targeted several people in cars in the Grove overnight. New tonight, Robert Townsend tells us the crimes happened after patrons left a nightclub.
Neighbors say on most nights, this parking lot here on Manchester in the Grove is usually packed with cars. That was the case when police say early Monday, several people became victims of crimes. Investigators say shortly after 1, a man said he left a nightclub and spotted 2 guys tampering with a car in the parking lot. He said the strangers then robbed him at gunpoint. Police say a second man who was with the victim said the same guys assaulted him. A source tells 5 on Your Side the guy was pistol whipped and the crimes happened after both victims left Prism nightclub. While investigating the robbery and assault, police say a third man approached officers and reported his car had been rummaged through and a window shattered. Police say no items were taken.
Thank goodness no one was seriously injured, and hopefully soon we can put this behind us, yeah.
There are many security cameras here in this popular district, including these from the Real-Time Crime Center. St. Louis police will be checking all images in hopes of catching those criminals. Meantime, they're asking if you know anything about these crimes to call Crime Stoppers. Robert Townsend, 5 on Your Side.
Guns getting into the wrong hands.
It's something that we're seeing a drastic increase of.
Tonight, the I-Team reveals the challenges of federal law enforcement to get stolen guns off the streets.
We would always caution everyone to secure their firearms.
The heat and humidity peak on our Weather Impact Alert Tuesday. What happens, though, for the next 7 days after that will have you breathing a sigh of relief.